Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin on Rugby preview show. Joining me to look ahead to Friday night's URC kickoff is someone back for his 90th cap. A warm welcome to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
How are we? I have missed you over the summer. It has been quiet without Leinster, so I'm happy to get back into it.
Indeed, I mean, after the length of last season, which was almost exactly a calendar year, or in fact, it was exactly a calendar year, I didn't mind the break. I won't lie. But it is good to it is definitely good to get back to it. All right. Well, listen, before we get to the matter at hand, Okigo, we had our season six Premier Pod last weekend where we talked about our expectations for Leinster
Mhm.
ahead of the new season. And where do you land on it? Is it all about the silverware?
For me, yes, because like I've been thinking over the summer, I know Leinster are a perennial final, semi-final team, and that's great. The envy of every other sporting team in the world. But we do need to start getting stuff in the trophy cabinet now. And, we had a couple of finals where it was 1 point and you kind of go, right, heartbreak is a little bit different when you're that close, but it just something needs to get in there this year. And I think I'm going to try and not over talk that as we're talking every week. But we all know it's kind of sitting right here on the shoulder. We all know that we need to get something in the trophy cabinet just to get momentum going, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about how all these finals and semifinals we're losing, they're all like 7 points or less. The margin, so we're getting that close without actually getting over the line at the end, and sort of you can spread that out over the whole season. The kind of pressure that's on a team from Leinster when it comes to standards and expectations. I mean, they can win bonus point wins every week between now and the end of April, but it's still nothing will be done until they get that job done. That's a lot of pressure put on a
Mhm.
coach. It's a lot of pressure put on a team, but that's the kind of pressure you want and the kind of pressure you have to get through if you're going to have that kind of success.
Absolutely, pressure is a privilege.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, well, listen, let's crack on and look at this one feature match of the week, which is, of course, Edinburgh v Leinster in round one of the 24-25 United Rugby Championship. The game is taking place at Hive Stadium on Friday, September 20th, kicking off at 7:35 p.m. TV coverage is on TG Cahir, Premier Sports 1, and, of course, URC.tv. Leinster named their matchday squad on Thursday. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen. For pod listeners, it's in the program notes. The first point you want to make is about the number 10 position.
Yeah, and I think this is partly maybe an issue we ran into last year, and it's a nice problem for the coach to have. I think what Farrell has done in the big job is push Frawley, for example, up the pecking order. And we know the class of Prendergast. We love Ross Byrne. And there's more there behind those three. But I think if we say that those are our three starters, and we kind of go, right, we're going to lose two of them during the Six Nations, one of them during the emerging squad. I do think if this three is our three, then I feel we can balance that over the season. And I do think if this is the decision that the guys have made, similar to the captaincy, if this is the three we're going into the season with, then I feel okay with it. Not that my opinion matters, but I'm a bit more comfortable with it because we see where they slot out and slot in. My worry is going to be then we have these three starting this week. I know emerging and all that sort of stuff starts, but then another two come in next week, another two the week after, and then that's the same problem. We need to give guys minutes in boots. We need to, Ross kind of gets back to fitness, something happens. Frawley has just kicked the door down. We were talking about him all season last year. And Prendergast is just a kid who's just rolling forward, free of thought. I don't mean it that way, but free of absolutely any baggage, which is a beautiful thing too. So I think if those are our three, brilliant. If we have 17, slight problem.
Yeah, I mean, obviously replacing Sexton was always going to be a conundrum, but and then you could come at it from many different ways. I mean, obviously. You could say if there was a line, then Ross Byrne was next in line. But rugby doesn't work like that. There's other players coming up through the ranks, and of course you had Kieran Frawley who made a big statement there in a green jersey right at the end of right going into the summer. So there's lots of things to consider. But also, of course, they've got more creative ways of doing it as well. I mean, if you look at the Leinster 12 position, we've got Robbie Henshaw, who may not be ready to come back yet. And of course, you got a certain Mr. Barrett coming in December as well. So that position is kind of well covered, but they're using their extra tens We saw Harry Byrne playing at 12 last week, and now they got Charlie Tector playing there now.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's a lot of ways they can do it. And then, of course, you just look at this whole lineup anyway, and it's a lot stronger than we expected it to be. I mean, Gibson Park, the injury update, the first one of the season they announced earlier in the week, didn't expect to see him in this lineup at all, but there he is, starting number 9, Gibson Park and Sam Prendergast. What a combination! There's so many variables that brings to our back play, you know. And Jamie Osborne's great to see him back. His brother Andrew was playing 15 the last couple of weeks in the preseason, but you got Jamie starting at 15 there as well, and it's such a strong pack as well. James Ryan coming in there, Jack Cohn in the captain jersey, lots of things going on there. But listen, you know, it's a lot to look forward to.
I'm getting excited now, Jeff. The more you
That's
talk,
it.
I'm getting excited. Like it's a great, and we've been here before. That's the thing. We've been battered and bruised by this throughout the seasons before, but I do feel if we pick those 310s and if we pick pillars around the pitch, I feel we're in a good spot. I think it took time for a new coach to get settled. You know, even off the field stuff, getting your family settled and into schools and all that sort of stuff, it takes time. And you're only human if part of your brain is over here worrying about, you know, the missus, the kids, all that sort of stuff. Whereas now I think they're settled. They've had a summer here. We see them out and about grabbing coffees. I feel that, you know, the real plan is coming in now. It doesn't write off the previous season, but I feel there's certain things that are going to unfold. Like the beginning of the season is going to be getting minutes in boots. The kind of before Christmas, you know, we've got the November break, but before Christmas into the European, we get our team ready to rock, and they're going to get regular rugby all the way through the URC, which, you know, my next point is about kind of every single moment counts in this competition now. Like it's not like previous where Leinster could go and get 15 wins or whatever, and then field whatever, and a bit of momentum is lost. We need to be on the ball all the way through this season. And the signings that we brought in kind of cover the November, they cover, I know Bart starts December, but it covers the Six Nations gap. It covers other things. And I feel they're very, very smart. As long as we get fitness out of everybody, that's a really smart way to do it, because we saw our away games at the end of last season. We can't let that happen. We've got the Aviva now for this year. I don't know what's happening next year, but we've got the Aviva this year. We can fill that for knockout rugby. We've got Croker for knockout rugby and the Munster games. Looking forward to seeing our Munster brothers and sisters next month. But we need to take advantage of this and score all the way through. There's no time to kind of, we're jumping in the ice bath. You can't slowly dip into it. That's what's got to happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different focus now because I mean, going back previous season, you talk about September, you wouldn't see any of the test players anywhere near the lineup. But now, as you said earlier, there's an emerging Ireland tour. There was just the squad was announced during the week. So a lot of these players who we'd expect to be seeing in September going on that tour. So we're going to need those level players. We're going to need the Gibson Parks and the James Ryans and the Ring Roses in the team going, you know, over the next few weeks, because the likes of Tommy O'Brien and Sam Prendergast are going to be going away on that tour. So we'll be seeing different lineups. And of course, in this lineup as well, we got Cian Healy's going to equal Devin Toner's record at 280 caps. Amazing achievement there. No doubt he'll smash through that over the next couple of weeks as well. All going well, you know. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the Edinburgh lineup. Last season was a disappointing one by their standards. They went out of the Challenge Cup at the quarterfinal stage to the eventual winners, the Sharks. And although they did win 11 out of their 16 regular season matches in the URC, they didn't get enough bonus points. So they ended up in 11th place behind teams with fewer wins like Ospreys and the Lions. They also lost the 1872 Cup to rivals Glasgow, who, of course, went on to win the URC title. They seem to have gone with a strong lineup themselves, though, Keego.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you pointed out, they're a good league team. They're obviously the points, the way the bonus points and everything works went against them, but they're a good, solid, strong league team. And we can't expect anything easy early in the season, because I think they'll look at the first game last season where it didn't go for us. It didn't work for us at all. And I think they may take this as a chance. We keep saying it every week, and we're going to say it every week. When you got the blue jersey on, there's a big target on your back, whether you want it or not, it's there, and they're going to go for it. So I feel us going away and really putting in a shift against these guys is going to be great for us. They've named a team, the best team they can name. There's a couple of players who are fresh, but they're going to fancy a shot at us based on opening game last season, which is still in my mind.
I know, yeah, big names on their team, like Schumann,
Mhm.
Richie, Scottish captain, Gilchrist is their captain, Hamish Watson, Darcy Graham,
Mhm.
Duhan van der Meer. We all know what he can do. It's a very strong lineup for them to open the season. They'll want to start off strong. So it's almost like it's getting almost like a Champions Cup level kind of atmosphere to him. But that's the way the URC has gone. As you say, every point counts. It's going to count at the end of the season whether you get a home quarterfinal or not.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a lot to look forward to. Okay, so now for a quick look at the officials. As you can see there, Andrea Piardi is holding the whistle,
Well
and
said.
now yeah, exactly. I've been practicing. Um, the weather the weather for Edinburgh is officially described as low clouds. I was considered that to be fog, but we'll see what that looks like. Low chance of rain. We'll see how that turns out on Friday evening. All right, Keego. So we're going to move on and we're going to have a quick look at the rest of the URC schedule this weekend. And now with the Currie Cup final, the South African sides have taken an extra week off, but there are still some big matches with the reigning champion Glasgow Warriors kicking off their quest for a third title by traveling to the Kingspan to play Ulster. And down at Thomond Park, we'll have the first Interpro of the season as Munster host Connacht. How do you see that going?
Absolutely. Well, like Connacht are my second team. I love Connacht, and we all know what I think about Munster. But I feel what I mean. It's great to see it so early because there's no slowly running into the Irish Sea. You've got to run in quick and you've got to give it your best. And I think with Ty Byrne being named captain in Munster, to be fair, let's start with a compliment in the first show of the season. Great call, brilliant
Mm-hmm.
call, and it's great to have O'Mahony still there as well because he's wherever he goes, he's a leader. But they've given the responsibility to the right guy, and I think that's a really, really good call from the coach. I like the coach. They have to start big. You know what I mean? They had a good season last year. But again, similar to us, there's a long time now. It's longer for them without a trophy, but they need to get moving again. And Connacht, I kind of was thinking about it this morning. I don't know what a Connacht expectation for the season, Connacht support expectation for the season will be, because we love them, we love how they play, we love their stadium, we love their fans, their supporters, but we kind of go like they're kind of mid to top end of the table every year. They kind of have a couple of great games in Europe. What are we looking for out of Connacht? So, number one, a big performance. King Bundy is now officially one of us after doing his ceremony the other day, so that's great. But I think I would love Connacht to turn them over, but I do feel that if Munster can keep that momentum going that they had last year, they'll turn them over.
Yeah, they'll definitely be favorites, all right. Yeah, a lot going on down in Connacht. Well, a lot going on in all the other provinces with new coaches set up. They've had a few games, but their first preseason for Richie Murphy up in Ulster.
Mhm.
And then you've got, like you say, changes in captaincy. They've got a couple of new players coming in. Billy Burns coming in
Mhm.
down in Munster. And then, of course, for Connacht, they've some new signings as well, but also they got certain Mr. Mac Hansen, who's almost like a new player as well, the way his previous season's gone. So a lot to look forward to. But we're going to go back to our main match, Keego. It's time to put the head in the block. How do you see it going in the Scottish capital?
It's funny you were talking about low clouds, and that's fog for us. But fog in Scotland is when you go blind. But yes, I think we're going to win. I think it's a two-score game. I think there's just going to be too much in there. I think the ghosts are still there, and I feel we're going to start getting rid of them. And I think that this is where it starts. Leinster by two scores.
Okay, hoping to get off to a good start to your Super Brew this season. I'm
Oh,
assuming.
jeez. Uh, could just to please for everybody, please join Super Brew and don't put in any entries for the whole year. And I'll put in a few to see if I can get rid of this jersey.
There you go. Okay, listen, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us and looking ahead to the new season. What stand-up gigs do you have coming up down the line?
Oh, well, obviously, I'm off to Liverpool on Saturday, and then
Brilliant.
next week we're going to glamorous Drogheda. As my ma said, if you can make it in Drogheda, you can make it anywhere. So that's the plan.
Brilliant stuff, and you see all the links there to find out more about his gigs there on his web pages. Okay, listen, thanks to you all for checking out our latest preview show, and if you can also tune in to Dublin South 93.9 FM around 5 p.m. on Friday for our Harp and Rugby segment, which is back this week, then be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are. Leave a comment on our Facebook page after the full-time whistle, and don't forget to bookmark our new online home, which is linktree/Harping on Rugby. We will, of course, have a wrap pod for you this week, recording on Sunday evening, and hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.